The sun rises over a quiet neighborhood. The street is calm, with a soft breeze rustling the trees. In front of an old house, an elderly black man, Mr. Johnson, sets up a table. He carefully arranges plates of hot food, fruits, and drinks. Homeless people walk by, some stopping to greet him. They smile and thank him for the meal. Mr. Johnson nods, his face calm and warm. He waves at a few familiar faces. It's clear he's done this for years, helping people who have nowhere to turn. He doesn't expect anything in return, just the joy of making someone's day a little better. But in the quiet of his good deed, something is about to change. A shadow watches from a nearby window. A woman, Mrs. Rogers, stares at him with a look of disapproval. Her face is twisted with anger. Her hands tighten into fists. She doesn't like what she sees. And soon, she's about to do something about it. Mrs. Rogers stands by her window, watching Mr. Johnson as he serves food to the homeless. At first, she tries to ignore it, but then she sees something that makes her blood boil. A few white people, some of her neighbors' children, are sitting with the homeless, laughing and eating together. Mrs. Rogers' eyes narrow. She doesn't like this at all. In her mind, it's not right for people from different backgrounds to mix so freely. "This is my neighborhood," she mutters to herself, feeling anger rise inside her. She believes the homeless don't belong here, and now, seeing her neighbors eating with them, she feels embarrassed. It's not proper, she thinks. This needs to stop. Mrs. Rogers' face grows red with frustration. She feels like Mr. Johnson is causing trouble. He's not just feeding people, he's bringing unwanted attention to the area. The more she watches, the angrier she becomes. She feels like she has to do something, anything, to stop this from happening. The next day, Mrs. Rogers storms over to Mr. Johnson's house. She is furious. "You can't just feed people here," she snaps. "This isn't a place for them. You're causing trouble." Mr. Johnson stops what he's doing and looks at her. He doesn't get upset. He just smiles gently. "Mom," he says in a calm voice, "I'm just trying to help those in need. Everyone deserves food, no matter who they are." Mrs. Rogers scowls. "But it's not right. You're making a mess of this neighborhood," she insists. Mr. Johnson doesn't raise his voice. He keeps his tone peaceful. "I understand how you feel," he replies, "but this is what I do. I help people who don't have a home or enough food. No one should go hungry." Mrs. Rogers shakes her head, still angry, but Mr. Johnson doesn't let her words affect him. He goes back to serving the food with a smile, not letting her harshness ruin his good deed. His calmness only frustrates her more. She was expecting him to argue, but instead, he just keeps helping, showing no signs of backing down. Frustrated by Mr. Johnson's refusal to stop, Mrs. Rogers decides to take matters into her own hands. She grabs her phone and dials the number for the local authorities. "I need to report a problem," she says, her voice filled with anger. "There's a man in my neighborhood giving away food to homeless people. It's making the area unsafe. I want this stopped." The officer on the other end listens carefully, then promises to send someone to check it out. Mrs. Rogers feels a sense of victory. She believes this will finally make Mr. Johnson listen. The next day, she stands by her window again, watching as Mr. Johnson sets up his food table. She sees the police car pull up in front of his house. Her heart races with excitement. She thinks this will be the end of his food distribution. The officer gets out of the car and approaches Mr. Johnson. Mrs. Rogers watches closely, waiting for him to get a warning or be told to leave. She smiles, certain that this is the moment she's been waiting for. As Mrs. Rogers waits by her window, she watches the officer talk to Mr. Johnson. She expects him to shut everything down, but instead, she sees something surprising. The officer listens to Mr. Johnson and then nods, smiling. After a few minutes, the officer walks away, leaving Mr. Johnson to continue his work. Mrs. Rogers is confused. She thought the police would stop him, but they didn't. Then something else catches her eye. She sees her neighbor's daughter, a young white girl, walking over to the food table. She's not just standing there. She's sitting down with the homeless people, laughing and sharing food. Mrs. Rogers watches in shock as the girl joins in, talking and eating with the people she had once seen as outsiders. The girl doesn't seem to care about their race or their background. She's just happy to share a meal. Mrs. Rogers feels a knot in her stomach. She's never seen this before. Her own neighbor's child is showing kindness to the very people she has always looked down on. Mrs. Rogers is left speechless. The world she's been living in doesn't seem so clear anymore. The truth she's held on to for so long is beginning to shake. Later that day, Mrs. Rogers can't hold her feelings inside anymore. She storms over to Mr. Johnson's house once again, her face filled with frustration. "I don't understand," she says, her voice shaking with anger. "Why do you keep doing this? Why feed these people? They don't belong here." Mr. Johnson looks up from his work and calmly wipes his hands on a towel. He doesn't shout or argue. He just listens. "I'm just trying to help," he says softly. "Everyone deserves kindness, no matter their race or where they come from. These people are just like you and me." Mrs. Rogers' eyes narrow. "But they're not like me," she snaps. "I can't understand why you're making it okay for them to be here." Mr. Johnson looks her in the eye and says, "Sometimes we don't understand things until we see them with our hearts, not just our eyes." Mrs. Rogers stands there, silent. She doesn't know how to respond. The words seem to hang in the air, making her feel uncomfortable. She's never thought of things that way before. But deep down, something is changing. The anger she feels starts to melt away, replaced by a small feeling she's not sure how to name. Guilt, maybe, or even shame. A few days later, something happens that Mrs. Rogers does not expect. One cold morning, she slips on the icy sidewalk and falls. She cries out for help, but no one from her usual friends or neighbors hears her. As she struggles to get up, she sees someone running toward her. It's not who she imagined. One of the homeless men Mr. Johnson feeds every day reaches out his hand. "Are you okay, Mom?" he asks kindly. He helps her sit up and waits with her until someone brings help. Mrs. Rogers is shocked. This man, whom she once saw as dirty and unwanted, is the one who helped her. She feels a lump in her throat. That evening, she sits quietly by her window and watches Mr. Johnson again. She doesn't feel angry now. Instead, she feels something deep, respect. She walks over to him slowly. "Thank you," she says softly, her voice low, "for not giving up, even on people like me." Mr. Johnson smiles warmly and nods. "We all need a little kindness," he replies. Mrs. Rogers doesn't say anything else, but in her heart, she knows he's right. That day, she learns a powerful lesson. Kindness has no color, and compassion can change even the coldest hearts. From that day on, Mrs. Rogers is not the same. She no longer watches from her window with anger. Instead, she starts walking over to Mr. Johnson's table with a warm smile. One day, she even brings homemade soup and serves it with him. The people she once avoided now greet her kindly. She talks to them, listens to their stories, and sees their pain and strength. Slowly, her heart opens. She begins to understand that true goodness is not about race or background. It's about love, care, and human connection. Mr. Johnson never says, "I told you so." He simply smiles, happy to see her change. The same street that once felt cold now feels full of warmth, and it all began with one man's quiet kindness. If this story touched your heart, please hit that subscribe button. Share your thoughts in the comments and let us know. Have you ever seen kindness change someone's life? Like the video if you believe in the power of compassion. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss another powerful story. Let's spread love, not hate. One story at a time. Love,